I love it when it feels like this.
Hi there, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name's Tom Kustra. I'm a real estate agent here with eXp Realty in Toronto. I serve Toronto, Durham region, and York region. I also do some pre-construction stuff with investors in Calgary. So today what we're gonna be actually talking about is that specifically, pre-construction in Calgary and why I feel it's a great investment opportunity. So with that being said, if you're interested in investing in pre-construction condos or homes, drop a comment down below and I'll get you my free pre-construction guide so that you know what you're dealing with when you're talking about pre-construction homes, because it's a lot different than actually dealing with resale homes. Okay, so the first reason why investing in Calgary pre-construction real estate is a good idea is because of leverage and the incentives they provide there. So in Calgary, generally speaking, most projects will want about 5 to 10% of a deposit rather than the 15 to 20 that is pretty standard here in Ontario. So you get a lot more bang for your buck in terms of actually leveraging out your money, and that's why I think it's really good. So just to give you an idea, First and Park recently just went through its sales phase. It's sold out in about 2 days, maybe not even that. It was really quick, like the turnaround blew me away because I never thought Calgary would be selling that fast, especially for condos, but it did. And with that being said, basically to give you an idea of leveraging your money, they had a 10 or 5% with a bond deposit structure. So if you were depositing only 5% and you used a bond, what they have is basically in Calgary, there's a bond program. So you just basically bond the other 5%. And there's an administrative fee as well as a loan fee. So the administrative fee is $100. And then for every $20,000 you're loaning out is basically $800. So just think about it this way. If you're bonding $400,000, you're gonna pay $800 for the 5%, that's $20,000. And then you're also gonna pay a $100 administration fee. So you're basically getting a loan from right now until 2025 for $900, which you will not get those kind of rates anywhere else. So definitely a great way to leverage your money. Another thing when we're talking about Calgary is the incentives. So some of the incentives that they offer out there are basically things like rental guarantees or free property management programs, free assignments, other stuff that's pretty standard to here. But the rental programs are definitely very interesting from the investor perspective. Another thing to keep in mind is that when you're talking about Calgary, their closing costs are so much lower than Toronto. Like the closing costs on First and Park were $2,000, where in Toronto, you're looking at least $10,000 to $30,000 on some projects for closing costs. So definitely a great way to leverage your money and use the incentives that Calgary provides to actually make a good pre-construction investment. Okay, so the second reason is the lifestyle. People like Calgary because it's, close to nature. You have Banff just an hour away, lots of nice amenities and, recreational activities you can do out there. Calgary was ranked the most livable city in North America and the 5th most livable city in the world. So definitely a place where people want to live and enjoy living. Calgary also has the 2nd lowest cost of living in major Canadian cities and then the 9th in North American cities. So it's cheap out there. Real estate's still cheap. It's not, I'm not gonna say cheap, but it's reasonably priced compared to, when you're talking about a Toronto or a Vancouver. So definitely more bang for your buck. Calgary was also ranked 32 out of 231 cities for the quality of life there. So definitely lifestyle is a big part in Calgary and why it's a great investment when you're talking about pre-construction and even the resale homes. There's some deals to be had. Okay, so the third reason why investing in Calgary pre-construction condos and homes is a great idea is because of the economy. While Calgary is still very oil dependent, it is slowly moving away from that. So I'm just gonna run off some quick statistics for you to kind of give you an idea of where Calgary is in terms of their economics. So they have the highest GDP per capita of major Canadian cities. They have the highest median total income of major Canadian cities. 8 of the top 10 world banks and 9 of the top 10 investment banks are in Calgary. They have the highest head office concentration per capita in Canada. They have the highest concentration of high-tech workers in Canadian cities, and Alberta is now home to more than 3,000 technology companies, a 233% increase since 2012, according to a new report. There's also the second highest small business concentration of major Canadian cities. So economically speaking, again, Calgary is still very oil dependent, and Alberta as a whole is. With that being said, things are shifting, and you can definitely see that a lot of companies are kind of relocating or setting up shop in Calgary, and we'll get into that in the next reason why Calgary is a great place to invest. Okay, so the fourth reason why Calgary is a great place for real estate investing is because of the taxes, or I'm also going to call this taxes/Texas. So we'll get into this and you'll kind of see what I mean at the end of it. So a lot of people do refer to Calgary as the Texas of Canada, and there are good reasons because it is very business friendly and very tax friendly. So Alberta has no HST or anything like we have in Ontario. They only have the 5% GST, which is standard across all provinces. So there's no provincial tax, it's only the federal tax. So there's no land transfer tax in Calgary. So when you go to sell your home, you don't have to pay a land transfer tax like you would here in Ontario, or more specifically, if you're in Toronto, you have to pay the double land transfer tax, the municipal as well as the provincial. With that being said, Calgary is also very tax friendly because it does have the lowest corporate tax rate in all of Canada, as well as no payroll taxes. So Calgary is very tax friendly, and Alberta as a whole is, but Calgary I think is going to be the one city that's going to boom because it is the major hub of Alberta, I would say. Like, you know, when you're talking in Edmonton or Calgary, people are probably going to think of Calgary first. I know I do. Okay, so just kind of going back to everything we said where I'm talking taxes or Texas, Calgary is very, very business friendly. It's the lowest corporate tax in all of Canada, and in North America, it's the 7th lowest. So when you're talking about all the states in America versus Canada as well, Calgary is definitely the 7th lowest, which is amazing. So why I kind of called this section taxes/Texas, again, a lot of people refer to Calgary and Alberta as the Texas of Canada. And what I could really see happening, especially as places like Ontario and British Columbia start really raising up the taxes on businesses and even wealthy individuals, we're gonna see the Texas effect. So I'm sure that you're well aware that big companies like Tesla are moving to Texas because, you know, they're business friendly, they're open for business, the taxes are low, and people wanna kind of go where they're not gonna be penny pinched for every last dime that they make or that the corporation makes. So I kind of see there being an exodus of companies from places like Ontario or British Columbia or even Quebec as taxes start to kind of keep going up and up, which they have definitely been trending up and up in these areas. So with that being said, Calgary is definitely business friendly and tax friendly. Definitely a great place to invest in real estate. When you're talking about corporation taxes, it's very low. So if you want to, you know, register a corporation to actually own your real estate, definitely a beneficial strategy when we're talking about Alberta and then Calgary in general. All right, so the fifth reason why investing in Calgary real estate, specifically pre-construction real estate, is because their market has remained relatively flat for the last 10 years. Toronto, Montreal, Vancouver, all those markets have been going crazy, and Calgary hasn't really seen that kind of money flow until recently. So year over year, as of September, the prices went up by 8.8% to about $457,000 average price for a home in Calgary, which when you're comparing with like the, you know, $1 million averages in the GTA, some places even higher. Like I know in September, Markham, for instance, was 1.3, Vaughan was about 1.3 as well, Durham region was about $1 million, and then Mississauga was about $1 million as well. So definitely a lot more potential when you're talking about appreciation because the price is still relatively low, and we can definitely see as low interest rate environments continue and as governments print endless amounts of money that Calgary real estate is primed for some real appreciation. So just to give you some other statistics about Calgary real estate, in 2021 February, the sales were up 54% year over year. They were up 147% year over year in March, and then they were up 450% year over year in April of 2021. So the market's definitely on fire. There's bidding war starting to come there. And a lot of my friends that are out in Calgary, you know, my mentor, my business partner, Mike Sherrard, he's a Calgary real estate agent, and he said it's always been a grind out there. So now with things kind of picking up and rising up, we're definitely seeing this poised to be a place to really get some cash flow coming in and then some appreciation as well. So cash flow is another reason why Calgary is a great place to invest. Here in the GTA, generally speaking, with most properties, you're gonna have about a carrying cost on your rental properties of about $300 to $500 for most areas in the GTA. So you're definitely not getting any cash flow, and just to kind of get on that appreciation bandwagon, you have to pay about $300 to $500 a month. Whereas in Calgary, you can still get the appreciation, but you're also cash flowing when you rent out your property. And again, going back to the first point, when we're talking incentives and some of these builders are giving out free rental guarantees or free property management for 3 years like First and Park had. So it's definitely investor friendly when you're talking about renting it out as a landlord. Okay, so the sixth reason why investing in Calgary is a great idea is because they have a saying in the stock market, basically it's called follow the money. So, there's the insider trading, websites that you can see who's buying and who's selling of some of these big companies. And a lot of people tend to follow that because they think that's a sign of what's coming for the company. So if you see Elon Musk starting to buy up a lot of Tesla stock, you probably want to follow the money because something good is probably coming to Tesla. And with that being said, that's kind of what I see with Calgary, where you have, again, going back to the First and Park project, you have Greywood Developments, which is a massive builder here in Toronto. They created the Ritz-Carlton Hotel, which is definitely a landmark here in the city. And these guys are making an expansion out into Calgary. So when you see smart money like that with billions of dollars in real estate like properties, you definitely want to be investing where these guys are moving their money to. Okay, so just as a bonus, because I want to be fully transparent and I don't want to paint it as a fully green picture and say there's no risk with Calgary. Like with any financial market, there's always going to be some sort of risk. So the big two risks I see in Calgary is one, that you're going to really want to pick which area you're buying property in, because there is still a lot of land out there, and it's not landlocked how Toronto with Lake Ontario and then the Golden Horseshoe is, or Vancouver with the ocean being right beside it. It's not landlocked in that regard, and there is a lot of land. So you don't want to be buying in small cities outside of Calgary. You really want to get the prime real estate, like right in downtown or 20-30 minutes at most to downtown Calgary. So working with a good real estate agent will definitely help you to find the right properties in Calgary. And then the other big risk, I briefly touched on it, is that Calgary is still heavily oil dependent. While there are a lot of tech companies moving to Calgary, it's definitely one of those places, Alberta as a whole, that still relies very heavily on the oil price. So when there's a bust cycle in oil, there's usually a bust cycle in Alberta real estate. That being said, right now gas prices are high, as I'm sure you're aware if you've been to the pumps recently. It's getting pretty outrageous, and oil prices are definitely trending up. So if that continues and we get more peak oil prices, we're gonna see Calgary's real estate market definitely benefit from that. Again, it's also a risk because on the downside, there's, if the oil market doesn't do well, then Calgary real estate's not going to do as well. So those are the risks involved with investing in Calgary. But overall, I'm very bullish on this place. I think there's a lot of potential here, especially when we're talking about things like, the leverage or the fact that their market has remained relatively flat, but now after COVID, it started to kind of peak up. Definitely a sign that people are getting hyped and interested about Calgary. So if you're thinking about investing in Calgary real estate, drop a comment down below. Let me know. Are you considering buying something in Calgary as an investment property? Have you ever thought about it until you've watched this video? Why did you come to this video specifically if you haven't thought about it? But anyway, I digress. So if you'd like to join my mailing list and get Calgary investment opportunities in terms of pre-construction as they come to the market, or even sometimes before they come to the market, VIP and platinum access, drop a comment down below and I'll give you a link to sign up for my mailing list so that you know everything that's going on in Calgary real estate in terms of the pre-construction game. If you're thinking about buying or selling in Calgary, reach out to me as well, because I have a lot of business partners out there in Calgary with eXp Realty. Luckily, we're a global brokerage and we don't have franchise offices. So if you're thinking of buying or selling on the resale market out there, definitely hit me up because I'll put you in touch with the right people to take care of you there and get your home sold for the most money or bought for the least money possible. So with that being said, thank you very much for watching. Hit that like button, subscribe, and stay tuned for more videos because I'll be talking about Calgary quite a bit over the next few years, I'm sure of it. Take care, have a nice day.
I love it when it feels like this.